Hi friends, and welcome back to Gardening Suburbia. Today I am going through my garden. I'm getting it prepped for a garden tour that I'm going to be uploading hopefully by the end of this week. It is Sunday today, so hopefully I get it uploaded. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to get my garden kind of looking nice. My first garden tour, I went ahead and I just did it and didn't worry about what my garden looked like because I just wanted to get it uploaded. I wanted it to be the first real, authentic, here's my garden, here's what it looks like, here's what it does, or here is what it is without any maintenance done prior to. But I've been really wanting to catch up on some things. I am noticing some damage on a few of my tomatoes. I am pruning a lot of my tomatoes, making sure that there's good airflow and getting rid of some of those diseased leaves because I don't want the disease to be spreading, especially since I have my tomatoes so closely planted. I want to make sure that I am staying on top of things and really making sure that I am, as the gardener, making sure that my garden is doing the best it can with my hand to help. So I have a bin full of diseased leaves. These are not going to go in my compost because if I put them in my compost, I am then going to be spreading that disease to my compost. These are going to go in a spot in my garden that will not be composted, most likely somewhere in the back of the woods. There is a tomato plant in here that is not doing well. I've been keeping an eye on it for the past few days just to see how it's kind of progressing. And I'm pretty sure it is my Paul Robinson, which I think I have a few other Paul Robinson tomatoes in this garden. I don't think I just planted one. I think I have at least 2, maybe 3 Paul Robinsons. But this one in particular, it's stunted. The leaves are really shriveling and dying back. And so I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull this plant. I'm gonna have to look back into my records and see which other ones are Paul Robinsons, because I think what I'm going to do is take a sucker of one of the Paul Robinsons and put it in some water, let it root, and then replant that guy and see if I can get tomatoes off of that plant. If not, I tried. But I want to show you guys how this plant is progressing. This is my wall of tomatoes, and a lot of them are kind of getting up towards the middle of this panel. They're getting quite tall, while this plant, and I'm gonna have to step in right here. See this guy? He has so many dead and curled leaves on it, and it honestly hasn't gotten much taller than that first bar on my cattle panel, which is only about like 1.5 feet, 2 feet max off the ground, while a lot of these have doubled that size. So sadly, I think I'm gonna have to pull this plant because I don't want whatever this plant is doing to spread to other plants. And it's honestly, it just looks really sad. And if it's gonna be just dying, I might as well just pull it out. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this plant. I don't know if it's, honestly, it kind of looks like the stem down there. Let me see if I can get you guys in there closer. So you see how the stem is like super dark right there? I wonder if there's something going on. I'm going to go ahead and pull this plant. If nothing else, it'll give more room to my other plants that are producing a ton of tomatoes. We've got a ton of really nice large size tomatoes in here, which I'm super excited about. Sadly, my Paul Robinson, which second year of growing that guy, third year. So we're gonna pull this guy out, and hopefully none of my other tomato plants do whatever this plant is doing. So sadly, I think this is actually a problem that I caused. So when I was cutting or pruning this tomato plant, it looks like I accidentally snipped this portion, which is why it's dead. And I think that the water or the diseaseness of this branch kind of just carried through to the rest of the plant, which is really sad. So a lot of those lower limbs are crispy. I'll go ahead and I'll put these on my table upside down and let them finish ripening. Hopefully they'll finish ripening. And the rest of this plant will just get tossed to compost. So, got 4 tomatoes off of this guy, which is awesome, but it still sucks because it's a problem that could have been avoided had I been a little more careful with pruning. But this kind of thing happens, it's okay. So the first 3 plants on this side, or tomato plants on this side, were actually Paul Robinson's. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a cutting of one of those suckers on those 2 plants to root and then replant where I just pulled that other tomato plant. I found a pretty good sucker that wasn't tied up. This is pretty established, so established that it even has fruit on it. So to prepare this for rooting, I'm going to just cut the lower limbs and also cut off any budding fruit because we don't need it to have any fruit on it. I have my glass of water and just gonna set that in there. So anywhere that the stem is touching the water, it'll grow roots. So this would be a good replacement plant. I think I'm going to leave this guy outside and make sure that it always has some water in it. I'm going to leave it outside just so that I do not have to harden it off again. I'm going to place this in a place that gets really good sunlight, and we will have a replacement Paul Robinson plant. I went ahead and mowed my entire backyard, and the main reason I hadn't been doing it was because there's so much clover in my backyard and the bees were just going crazy for it. So I didn't mow my backyard, I think, for like almost a month. Went ahead and I mowed it. The bees got angry at me and I had one get me on one of my legs. And then I moved the straw, no, it was a pine mulch that I had been using to mulch my garlic. It honestly had just been sitting on like the side of the bed. And I finally raked it into a new spot, and I think there was a giant ant colony living there. And so I stepped on it and I got a few bites on my other leg. But 'tis the life of an organic gardener. I think it's been a few years since I've actually been bitten by a bee, or stung by a bee. Not bit, stung. So that was fun. Both of my legs are stinging for different reasons. I got the tomato clipping set out in a good spot. So I have this guy just chilling right here. Hopefully it doesn't get knocked over. If it does, I can go ahead and add more water and whatnot. Of course, I have my bug soup just chilling here for whenever I find bugs. Like, oh, that's a spider, never mind. Look at that little guy. I apologize for the loud noises of my neighbors, but the first squash of the season is ready to harvest, and I'm so excited. This is going to be my very first squash ever. So the first one I thought that was going to take, he didn't end up taking. He is getting squishy, so I'm gonna twist him off and I'll use him, but as you can see, the tip of it is getting kind of weird and squishy. This was the first one I saw, and it's not good. But one that took after him, I don't know if you can see that guy, he's getting so big, and I need to get this off before he gets any bigger. So I'm just gonna twist it off. This is the perfect size zucchini, and I am so excited. Cheers to gardening and it working and growing food that you like to eat. I just have a few more finishing touches to do on this garden before I am ready to get a full garden tour recorded and then hopefully posted by the end of this week. I hope you guys are having a lovely week. I have heard a lot of people start talking about fall gardening and getting things planned for a fall garden, which is coming. So I need to get some things in order. I actually think I need to order a few seeds for the fall garden. It's a little bit later. My phone died while trying to finish that last clip. I think I was trying to say something along the lines of I am really hoping to get onions down packed this year. I had an electrician come to my house not too long ago. He was doing some work, and he had mentioned that there was a lady that he always had to dig snow off of her garden plot in around February, and he lives around in this area. And so it got me thinking that maybe instead of doing a full overwintered onion, that I would get my onions sets. I would start onions from seed, get them started so that they would be onion sets by the time that I needed to plant them out in February. So currently looking into that. Onions are really hardy. They have really resilient roots, which is just awesome. So I'm gonna get some onions in the ground, hopefully some cauliflower, and probably some more broccoli, but we'll see. Kind of just depends on what I have space for, but I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you guys want to watch any of my other content, I'll go ahead and pop a video up here for you. But until the next time, thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.